Yeah, hi. Hi.
Hey Chaitanya.
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, I thought you will not join because we were already there. So and
That's
it was like,
that's that's fine. Okay, no problem. Right. What is the topic that we have discussed in the last session?
we were talking about that Linux.
Hmm? We are talking about the Linux operating system, how it is going to work, and what are the different directory architecture of the Linux operating system, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are the concepts that we have covered. Okay.
Yep.
So, I would like to inform one more thing, guys. Today will be the last demo session for you. So this is the third and final demo. And from tomorrow onwards, the link is about to change. Okay.
Okay.
So you can reach out to DURGASOFT related to the payment and all the things. Okay. Once you have done the payment, you will get a proper link. And from there, you can join into the course. Okay.
Okay. Sounds
Right.
good.
Yeah. So yeah, so when we see here in the last session, whatever we have discussed, that is all about the Linux basics, what is the directory architecture and all the things. Let us see a few commands. I won't go very in deep into the Linux. Why? Because that is not at all necessary for us. If you have a basic understanding like user creation, and then if you are having a basic understanding towards the basic commands like uh, what are the commands that we are going to check out here is ls command and then cd command and tp, mv, mkdir, rmdir, rm, and then we'll be discussing about the granular regular expression and global regular expression also. They will call it as global regular expression also. And then pipe symbol, a few more commands related to that. Okay, so what is meant by ls? Ls means if you want to get the list of files and folders are directories. I will call them directories. That is a proper terminology from the Linux or else from the current directory the user is. So from the current directory. So for example, let me log on to the server so that I can clearly explain you what is meant by ls. Not only that, we can do so many things with the ls command. We can go with the hash trick. Okay, it's a wildcard. So what is meant by wildcard and everything, I will try to explain you today. So just give me a second. Okay, I'll go to the instances over here. Today I said I will tell you about the instance creation, right? So yeah, let me see whether I can tell you right today, or else I will try to explain you in the next session at least. So in which ways we are going to create the EC2 instances in the AWS, but let me check out that. Okay. If you have prior knowledge in Linux, then that's fantastic. We don't have any problem with that. If not, just try to gather the knowledge on the Linux. It will be very helpful in the future also. So this is my Linux mission. So when we log in into this, what I'm saying, first of all, you need to understand about two things. One is the absolute path and the other one is the relative path. Sudo su hyphen. In Linux, there is a concept called as absolute path. Absolute path. And there is one more concept called as relative path. So what is meant by absolute path? Absolute path means, for example, everything will be starting from the root directory or else main directory. So when I go over here, yeah, this is the point which I am trying to explain you, right? So absolute path is a complete file or directory path that specifies the exact location of the file or directory starting from the root directory. So if you can see the architecture over here, so whenever you are defining, you want to go to a specific file. So the target file is in multiple directories into the nested directory. So what you have to do, you have to start from the root directory. That is what calls as absolute path. So you will be starting from the root directory, and there will be first level directory, and this is the second level directory and third level directory, and finally you will get the targeted file. So this is called as an absolute path. Here you can clearly see that an absolute path is a complete file or directory path that specifies the exact location of the file or directory starting from the root directory of the file system. It provides full address from the very top of the directory hierarchy. Okay, always starts with a forward slash. This represents the root directory. So whenever we are discussing about going into a particular location, so if at all, if it is starting from the slash, then we are giving the absolute path. So for example, here what I will do, cd slash home ec2. So this is called as an absolute path. Okay, so I will be in the, if you see pwd, if you give the pwd command, so print working directory is going to print us where the current root user is located. Currently the root user is located in the path slash home ec2. Slash home, in there is a slash means this is root directory. Inside that we are having a home directory. Inside that there is an ec2 directory, ec2 user directory. So into this directory we are currently presented. Okay, or else what you can do, you can go with cd. Currently the user is in which directory? Currently the user is in root directory. So cd dot dot slash home ec2. So this is called as a relative path. Here we are not starting from the slash. Okay, whenever we are starting from the forward slash, here you can see this is called as forward slash. Whenever you give the forward slash in the starting of the navigating or else the navigation directory structure, then you are going with the absolute path. If you are not giving the slash means, then that is called as a relative path. So first what you are doing, you are coming out of the root directory and then you are going into the slash home directory, and from there you are going into the ec2 directory. So this is how the relative path will be mentioned. So you need to understand about this concept. What is an absolute path and what is a relative?
One quick question,
Mm.
Chaitanya.
Mhm.
So if you go to that root directory, right,
Mm.
slash, and then you enter the root, right? So after root
Mm.
also there was a slash and ec2 user. So will that ec2 user be a root directory for uh,
For
that
the
particular
EC2 user.
Mhm.
Yeah,
for that
for the
ec2
EC2 user. Yes, that is a home directory. Don't
home
call it as a
directory?
root directory. That's a home directory.
Home directory. Okay.
Okay. So let me explain you in a small similar scenario. Okay, you have a very big building. Okay, you have a very big office. Okay,
Mhm.
so when you are trying to enter into the office, you will be entering into the main gate first. Okay, so that main gate is like a root directory. Root directory in the sense
Mhm.
slash. Okay, when you enter into that office, you will be having so many cabins. Okay, inside the cabins, everyone will have their own home directories, which means their own cabins will be there. Manager will have his own manager cabin. CFO will have his
Right.
own manager cabin, and mostly the CEO will have a separate cabin. Okay, that is not included into all the employees' cabins, right? He will have his own separate cabin. So in the
Right.
same manner, the root users directory will be separately created, not in the home directory. So if you see
Okay.
here, this is the root users directory. Slash means root directory. Root
Mhm.
means root users directory. Okay.
Okay.
But the rest of the user directories will be created in slash home directories. So wherever, if I create another user also, the other user directory also going to create in the home directory only. So in the home directory itself. So let me create one user so that you will understand. User add. what I will do, Chaitanya. Okay, I added a user. Now, if you can see
Hmm.
here, look at that. Previously, we don't have the Chaitanya user directory in the home directory. But when I create the user, what happened automatically? His home directory has created inside the home directory. Okay, there is a name. The name of the home directory is called as home. Inside that, the
Okay.
user's home directory will be there. Inside the home directory, what you will be having? You will be having the documents, downloads, videos of that particular user. Okay.
Okay.
Any confusions here?
Now,
Okay. So now we are going to talk about the ls command. So what is this ls command? So if you can see ls means list the files. If you want to list the files, you can give ls. For example, I want to create some touch command is helpful for you to create an empty file. If you want to create an empty file, you can use the touch command. Touch file 1.10. So it is going to create some 10 files. So if you can see ls, look at that. Previously, we are having only a file with the name file name, but now you are having file 1 to 10 files are available. But if you can see, all of them are showing horizontally. Okay, I want the complete details of this particular files, long listing. So if I want the long listing of the files, ls-l. When you give this, here you can see it is listed in the vertical format, and here you can see the long listing. What is this? This is called as, if at all the file is a normal file, that will be represented at the starting as minus. Here you can see. Are you able to see this? The starting of the file specification, it is showing like minus. So this minus represent it's a normal file. Or else if I create a directory, to create the directory, we use the command mkdir uh, Linux directory. So I'm creating a directory here. So if you can see ls-l, look at there, a directory, Linux directory has been created, and it is represented with which word or else which character? D. D means directory. And if you see in the starting, there is minus. Minus means normal text file or else normal file. If it is an image file also, you will get the minus. And the next 9 columns, here you can see RW minus, R minus minus, R minus minus. What is this meaning? The meaning of this particular line is, or else these characters is, the first 3 characters represents the owner, the second 3 characters represents the group, and the third 3 characters represents the others. Okay, what is the meaning of that? For example, you purchased a television. Okay, you purchased a television, or else you purchased any appliance. For example, you purchased your mobile. Now you will be the owner for that particular appliance, whatever you have purchased. For example, if you purchased a TV, you will be the owner for the TV. And the TV is not for you, for only your purpose. The TV is for everyone. So now what is happening here? The group of people in your family will be able to watch the TV. Okay, so which means that they are having the read permissions. You will be having the read, write, and execute permissions also. What is meant by read means you can watch the movie, or else you can watch the movie in a TV, or else if you want to do some changes in that television, you can do that. Why? Because you are the owner, you have the full permissions. And the group of people who are residing in your home, they will have only read permissions, which means that they can just watch the television. Apart from that, they are not allowed to do anything. If any other person comes into your home, he also have only read permission. He doesn't have any another option. So the other person who is entering into the home, he cannot break the television, or else he cannot modify the television. So he don't have the right and execute permissions. So like that, for every file, there will be 3 type of permissions. So one is the owner permissions, the other one is the group permissions, and the third one will be the others. Others means other user permissions. So this is what the permissions all about. We'll discuss about the permissions in detail, but this is what the first 10 columns of your file when we are using the ls-l. This represents the links. We will discuss about that. But the next one, this is the user or else owner. So who is the owner? The owner of this particular file is root. And which group the file is committed to, which what is the owner group of this particular file, and on which date the file has been modified, and what is the size of the file. So this represents the size. So let me do one thing. Nano file 1. This is a test file. When I give this, now if you can see ls-l, look at that. Previously the file 1 is of 0 bytes, but now it is of 20 bytes. Why? Because we have added some data. So depending on the size of this will represent whatever you are seeing the next column next to group permissions, whatever you are seeing the next column, that is called as a size of the file. Okay, so currently the size of the file is 20 bytes, and the next one is the modification date, at what time the file has been modified, and this is about your file system. Okay, so ls-l, when you give this, ls-l means it is going to show you the long listing of the files, which will be representing the total details of the file permissions, file ownership, file size, and file modification date, latest modified date, or else date and time, and finally you will see the file name. But if you go only ls, you are able to see only the number of files and folders, files and directories that are available in that directory, in that current directory. Now I want to check out I'm working in this directory in a file, but I want to check out some another file is located in some another location. To do so, ls/home ec2. If I have the permissions, definitely I'm going to check out that, or else ls/home. So if you can see inside the /home, I am having two directories. So I can check out that. Currently where I am located, currently I am in the root directory, but still I want to check out the files that are available in the home directory. So what I can do, ls/home, when I give this, automatically here you can see we are having the user directory is located in that home directory. So you can think that, sir, we are into the AWS, then why we are going for the Linux operating system? These Linux basics are really recommended for your AWS learnings. Okay, when you want to learn the AWS configurations and concepts, definitely you need to have the basics of Linux. So that's why I'm covering this. Okay. Anyways, coming back to the point. Yeah.
So one more question. Can we practice this Linux in our web itself without installing the Linux operating system in our computer? Or do we need to have this installed? Yeah.
No, not required. You are having the Windows operating system, right?
Right.
In Windows operating system, there is a special feature called as WSL. You need to install WSL. Oh, sorry, WSL.
Okay.
Okay, when you install the WSL, here you can see cat//etc os-release. If you can see here, you can directly use the Ubuntu operating system also. Let me do one thing.
Oh, wow.
Exit WSL -l. So which means that I just am giving you an option other than installing these things. You can simply use in the Windows also. Okay.
Okay.
This is one.
Thank you.
Install -install Linux distribution. Okay. So I will go with WSL -install Ubuntu. Okay. There you go. Now on Windows itself, what you can do, you can work with the Ubuntu operating system. Okay. So this is how you can work it out. You don't need to, I mean, if you want to do any practice, for practice purpose, you can use it. So the new Unix username is Chaitanya. And the password it asked me to set. I will give the password. Okay, so the installation is successful, and here you can see you are able to access your Ubuntu. So sudo su hyphen. Okay. Now you are in the root user. ls-l, or else cat/etc os-release. OS release. Okay. There is no direct. That's fine. Not CD. Sorry, my fault. So it is cat OS release. Here you can see it is using Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. So there is no necessity of installing all the servers. For practice purpose, I am showing you this. Okay, if you want to do this, you can do like this also.
Sure,
But you need to install a tool called as WSL, which you need to download from the internet.
Command prompt, right? Okay, internet.
Yeah. From the internet, you need to install WSL, and then you have to install the Ubuntu operating system. Just I have showed you. WSL -- install Ubuntu. Then it will install the Ubuntu and ask you to enter the username and password. Once you have entered the username and password, you will be able to access the Linux operating system on your Windows system itself. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So the next one is, as we have already seen, ls-l command. What is my next requirement? I want to know what are the files that are having with the name file star. Okay, so if you can see, whatever the files that are located, actually in this particular location, we are having all the files with the name file, and we have a Linux directory. A directory is there with the name Linux directory. So I want to fetch out only the files that are starting with the string, or that are starting with a set of pattern in this fashion. So pattern is FILE. So the characters should be FILE, and after that anything should be there. So it is going to show you all the files that are starting with the file. Okay, or else let me do one thing. You will be confused about this file and all the things. Let me do one thing. rm-rf star. Now what I will do, touch a hyphen z dot txt, a hyphen z dot txt. New a dot z. There you go. So there are certain files created with new a, new b, new c, like that. You can see up to z you are having the files. Okay. So now I want to get the files that are starting with new. So new star. After new, anything can be there. So you got all the files. Or else I want to get the files only with a. So in the middle you can have the a, ls-l star a star. So here you can see star a star, in the sense, what is the meaning of that? Before a you can have any pattern, and after a also you can have any pattern, but you need to have the a in the middle. Before a you can have new or old a. So let me do one thing. Touch old a. Okay, so now if you see the same command again, see that before a whatever the pattern it might be, and after a whatever the pattern it might be. I want to fetch out the characters which will have the a in the middle. So that is why I am getting the files in this fashion. Or else ls-l new or else let me create something. Touch new abc, new abcd, and new ab. Okay, so if you can see here, we have the new a, new ab, new abc, abcd, like that. Okay, so now what is my requirement? I want to fetch out the files that are having new a in the beginning. This is the pattern, and whatever the after a, whatever it might be, you can execute it. So if you can see here, it is showing me new a, new ab, new abc, and new abcd. So whatever that is after the abcd, it might be. So this is called as wildcard. Whatever the star or hashtag you are seeing here, this is called as wildcard. Whatever the pattern after a, it doesn't matter. It is going to consider the letters in the beginning. So the user is requested for this character should be there in the beginning. What are the characters? N, EWA. This is the pattern. In this pattern, whatever the files are there in the beginning, in the file name, the starting of the file name, I need to fetch out all the files, and after that, whatever the pattern might be, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it is going to show all those files. So like that, what you can do, you can pull out the whatever the necessary patterns. Okay, so depending on the asterisk symbol. For example, ls-l new double question mark. If you give the double question mark, I only remember any. I don't know what is there after that. Then what you can give, when you give the double quotation mark, whatever that is starting with any, and you don't know about the rest of the two parts, then it is going to show only the 4-letter word. Whatever the 4-letter word file is there, it will display that. When you give any double question mark, triple question mark, then it is going to show you the pattern of the file name that is having any in the beginning and then 3-letter or else 3-character word in the ending. So likewise, you can fetch out the file patterns. So this is how you can fetch out the file pattern with the help of ls command. So this is about the ls command. Like this, you can do so many different operations with the help of ls command. And the next command is cd. What is meant by cd? Cd means change directory. If you want to change the directory from one location to the another location, you can go with a command called as cd. So currently we are in the, if you see the pwd, I am in the root directory. From the root directory, if I want to navigate to some another directory, you can navigate to the absolute path. What is the absolute path? /etc system/d/system. So if you can see, it is starting from the root directory. From the root directory, I want to enter into the HC directory, and from the HC directory, I want to navigate to systemd directory. From the systemd directory, I want to navigate to system. So now if you see here, currently the user is in this particular location. Okay. Now, when you see previously the user is in the root directory, here he is using the absolute path, and by using the absolute path, he is gone through the directories. Okay. So this is called as absolute path and changing the directory from one location to the another location. Now I want to come back to my home directory. So then what you can do, either you can go with cd. When you give cd, automatically he will be in his home directory. There you go. Or else if you give cd tilde, the symbol represents tilde. Okay, so that is available on the top of your tab. Okay, on the top of your tab button, you can see there will be a wave symbol. So that is called as tilde. When I give tilde also, this represents the home directory of the user. You might be in any another directory. From that directory, you want to come back to your home directory, then you can use cd tilde symbol, or else just cd also you can give. So this is about your cd functionality. Cd means change directory. Okay, so this is very important. So two things are very important. First one is you need to understand where you are. First and foremost thing, what you need to understand, whenever you are working with Linux operating system, it is very important for the every administrator that first try to get, or else try to know in which directory the user is located. Okay, currently I am in the, if you can see pw, I am in the root directory. So that is what my requirement. I want the path where exactly the user is located. So if he knows the path, he can work with the path. Okay, then the second one is get the knowledge about which directory he has to navigate. To which directory he has to navigate. And the third one will be use the appropriate method, use the proper method to navigate from one directory to another directory, either with absolute path or with the relative path. So what is the meaning of that? The meaning is very simple. For example, in the root directory I am located. So I am creating some directories. Here you can see we have the Linux directory is not there. ls Linux directory is not. Let me create it. mkdir, or else first of all let me remove all the files rm -rf staff. So everything will be removed. mkdir, okay, Linux directory. Inside that, what I want to do, cd Linux directory. So if you can see here, I am not giving the entire absolute path. I am simply giving the relative path. See, I am trying to move to the Linux directory. Why? Because I can give like this also. I will start from absolute path /root Linux directory. This is also correct. If you want to navigate to Linux directory, this is also a correct path. But this is the absolute path. You are giving the entire path. But where you are currently located, currently I am in the root directory only. So I don't need to give. You have to navigate to root directory, and from there you have to navigate to Linux directory. I don't need to give out that. So in that directory only, I am having the Linux directory. So you can give the relative path, cd Linux directory. So I will be navigated to the Linux directory. So see here. So I will be navigated to the Linux directory. Inside the Linux directory, I want to give inside the Linux directory. I want to give somewhere like a Windows directory. Okay, cd Windows directory. So here also I am going with the relative path. I am not starting with /root /Linux directory /Windows directory. So simply I am giving like this. And one more thing, here also I am going to give mkdir. I am creating one more directory called as Mac directory. So here again I will go with cd Mac directory. So if you see the pwd, current working directory of the user, root Linux directory. So the currently the user is located in root directory. Inside the root directory, he is in root users directory. Inside the root users directory, he is in the Linux directory. And again, he is in the Windows directory. And then he went to the Mac directory. So this is how you can mention the paths. For example, I will go back to my home directory. So simply if you give the cd, the user will be going back to the home directory. If you see this symbol in the directory location, if you see this tilde symbol, that means that the user is in the home directory. It is very important to understand where exactly the user is located. So when you see this symbol, the symbol represents the home directory of the user. If I go to the EC2 also, so here you can see EC2 user at Linux server and tilde is there. Tilde means this is the home directory for the EC2 user. So what is the home directory for the EC2 user? The home directory for the EC2 user is /home/EC2. If I go with the root user, again the root user is in his home directory only. So here you can see the tilde symbol. The tilde symbol represents the root directory of the user. The current root directory user is, or else the home directory of the root user is /root. So this is very important. Where exactly the user is located is very, very important for me. Okay. So now I want to navigate to some systemd directory. How I have to do? So currently I am in the root users directory, pwd. So either I can use the relative path cd /etc and systemd and /system. So this is the relative path. Why? Because it is not starting with /. It is not starting with /. What I am doing, I am coming out of the root directory, root users directory, and then I am going into the etc, systemd, and system. This is the what I can say. This is the relative path. Or else we can use the absolute path also. cd /etc systemd system. This is also correct method to navigate, but this is the absolute path. So you need to find out the difference between the absolute path and the relative path. Okay, so this is the navigation command called as cd. And then the command called as mkdir to create the directories. If I want to create a directory, nested directories, so which means that a directory inside a directory inside a directory, like that I want to create the nested directories, then I can go with mkdir -p dir1 /dir2 /dir3 /dir4. So 4 directories will be created inside my root users directory. Here you can see dir1 is there, cd dir1, dir2, dir3. So currently I am in the directory 3. So here you can see, which means that -p is a parent option. So I want to create a directory called as dir1. That's the parent directory. Inside that parent directory, I want the child directory 2. Inside directory 2, I want another child directory called as directory 3. Inside that, I want another directory called as directory 4. If you don't mention -p, then it is not going to create the nested directories. Definitely you need to mention -p itself. Okay, so this is about how you are going to create the directories. Any questions? Okay,
What is the limit that you can create a directory? Is there a limit?
sir.
Is there a
No
limit to
limit.
create
No
no
limit. You
limit,
can
right?
go with no. You can go with in number of directories. Okay.
Okay.
So if you want the verbose method, one second. Yeah. If you want to know the verbose, what is meant by verbose? For example, I want to create a -pv. I want to create like new dir1 slash new dir2 slash new dir3 slash new dir4, like that. So v means what it is going to show you. See that make directory created a directory called as new directory 1. Where it is created? It is created in the current directory. Currently with the user is in his home directory. So in the current directory, new directory 1 is created. Inside new directory 1, we created new directory 2. Inside new directory 2, we created new directory 3. Inside new directory 3, we have created new directory 4. So if you use this v option, verbose option, it will display that. So what are the directories present inside the directories will be displayed. So this is about your how you are going to work with the orals, how you are going to create the directories, nested directories, and then how you can visualize the directory creation. Okay, so this is about your directory creation, right? So there is one more command here, rm directory, rmdir, for example, Linux directory. So here you can see Linux directory is not empty. So rmdir is not effectively working with the Linux directory, empty directory, any non-empty directory, you cannot go with the rmdir. If there is a empty directory, then you can go with the empty dir. So here you can see there is a directory which I created called as empty directory. Inside this directory, I don't have any files or folders. So now if I go with rmdir, empty directory, it is going to delete that. So here you can see empty directory is deleted. So why? Because I am using rmdir command, which will be deleting the empty directory. Okay, so inside this empty directory, we don't have any files or directories are available. But if I try to remove the directories, new directory 1, it won't be deleted. It is going to show you that the directory is not empty. So rmdir-r new directory 1. If you give this or else rm-rf. Okay, so here if you don't know, so for example, you don't know how to use the command. Okay, you don't know how to use the command in the Linux operating system, then what you can do is if you want the help. Okay, if you want the help and you don't have the internet, if you go inside a data center, inside the data center, you won't find any help for you. You won't find any internet access for you. But still, you want to know about the commands. What is the command? What are the different options that are available for the commands? Then what you can do, you can use a command called as man. Man means manual rmdir. So it is going to give the complete information about the remove directory rmdir. Okay, hyphen ignore fail on non-empty. Ignore each failure to remove the non-empty directory. And -p means parent directory, remove the directory and its ancestors. So it is going to remove the entire directories. And -v means verbose. Like that, you can check out the check out the what is the functionality of the RM directory without using the internet. So if you don't have the internet and you want to get the help for the command called as RM directory, simply you can use the manual pages. Not only for RM directory, for any directory you can use the manual pages. Okay. So now RM dir hyphen p new directory. So it is going to, it has to remove, or else it is not removed. Then you can go with rm hyphen rf new directory one. So then this command will remove the new directory one. Even though it is not empty, it is going to remove the complete directory. Okay. And not only that, rm hyphen rf Linux directory. So once it is removing the directories, or else once it is removing the files from your Linux operating system with the help of a command called as rm-rf, recursively you are deleting the files and folders from your Linux operating system. It's a permanent operation. It cannot be reverted back. Okay. So everything is a permanent. So if you go with RM, it's a permanently taken action. You cannot reverse it back. Okay, so this is very important for you to understand. Okay, so this is about RM command. So now when you see what are the commands that we have seen, ls command, and then we have seen the cd command, mkdir command, rmdir, and rm-rf, and these are the commands that we have seen. Not only that, if I want to copy, or else if I want to rename a particular file. So here you can see there is a directory with the name dir1. So I want to rename it. mv command. mv command is used in two different ways. One is to move the objects from one location to the another location, or else to rename the objects also. For example, mv dir1 to new dir1. So now if you can see, so the directory one has been replaced or else renamed as new dir1. So mv is the command which will be helpful for you to rename the directories and as well as to move the directories from one location to the another location. So now what I want to do, move new directory from current location to /h or /home Chaitanya. So now if you can see, we don't have any directories in the home directory. Present home directory, I am not having any directories. Okay, in the current root users directory, I'm not having any directories. But if you see ls-l/home Chaitanya, the new directory has been moved to that particular location. So this is how you can do the move operation. There is one more command called as cp. cp-r, I want to copy the file from the /home. cp means copy /home Chaitanya new directory 1 to current directory. So how I can represent the current directory? Either I can go with the /root. This is one of the options that we are having, or else I am located in the current directory itself. In the /root directory only I am currently present in. So if you can say where I am currently in, currently I am in the root directory only. So here you can give dot also. In Linux or Windows, dot represents the current directory. Dot represents the current directory. So when I give dot, here you can see the new directory one has been copied from the /home/Chaitanya's directory. So this is how you can copy the files. You can move the files from one location to the another location. Okay. Understood? Any questions here? Up to now, whatever we have discussed, any questions?
So if we only need to delete a file from a directory, so would we be still using that rm -rf command?
We have to use rm command. If you want to delete a file, definitely you need to use the rm command.
Okay.
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 Any further questions, guys?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Okay, guys. So then I will stop here. We'll meet in the tomorrow's session and discuss about the networking concepts. If you want, no, we need to discuss about the user concept. We will discuss about the user concept, file permissions, and then we will start the networking concepts also. Tomorrow, same time, 8:30 a.m. We'll sit and talk about the rest of the Linux concepts. Okay, most probably this week I will try to cover the Linux, and next week we will start using the. We will start with the raining command. Sorry, what is that networking concept? Okay. Have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session. And I just want to reshare you the things. So today is the last date for your what I can say
We
this
understand.
particular demos. Yeah. So these demos are completed by today, and from tomorrow onwards you will have the premium sessions. Okay. Have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.